Hi everyone, it's Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest and Elegant Weapons, and this is We Go to 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
We'll get going for this. This will be for We Go to 11, and we've chatted with you before. I think once for Priest, and then once for Horns for a Halo back in 23, I think. But
Great, okay, fantastic.
It catches up to speed on the band because I'm not quite clear on whether you did any performances, and if so, I don't believe that there were any stateside, correct, for the last record.
That's correct, yeah. We did a tour of the summer in 2023 in Europe. So we did some festivals. We actually opened up for Pantera on a few dates as well. So we did some stuff over there, but we haven't got over to the States yet. So we're looking... Right. One of the challenges is getting everyone on the same schedule. Everyone's got other bands like Priest, Accept, Uriah Heep and everything. Yeah. So we try and get everyone on the same schedule. So we've got to get ahead of everything. So we're looking at towards the end of the year, trying to get some dates together. And hopefully we can get out to the States and North America, anywhere that will have us to do some dates for this record.
Yeah. And a huge fan of the debut. Have had a chance to listen to the new one, actually pre-ordered it. So I'm looking forward to Evolution, which I think is on 24th of April, I believe it rolls out. So real quick on the past, though, related to the band. I mean, I get Rex Brown, obviously, busy dude, has his own solo thing, has Pantera coming up. But to me, it didn't make any sense as to why Scott Travis opted out, given the fact that he isn't Priest. You guys have pretty much the same schedule. What led up to him not being involved in this?
Well, I don't think he wanted to be traveling through Europe in a van. Like 120 degrees through the Spanish, sun. And I'll tell you, that's what we were doing.
Oh, wow.
You go from a Priest kind of level of touring to, we had a split van. There was four of us in the band. We had two techs, a driver, and a second driver in the van with no AC. The AC broke down. So it was, I think Scott knew what was coming, so he opted out early. Yeah. Right. But yeah, because of that, obviously I called up good friends of mine, Davey Rimmer from Uriah Heep on bass, and Christopher Williams on drums from Accept. And they came on board in 23, and they've been with us ever since, and they appear on this record. Right. And I'm lucky to have great friends that are great musicians, so Scott couldn't do it, and I was lucky to call Christopher and he could do it. So brilliant.
Yeah. Awesome. And we know Ronnie Romero's abilities at vocal, but yeah, I mean, how lucky are you to lock in another solid replacement rhythm section?
Really fortunate, fortunate. Yeah. As I said, I think being friends and getting on personally is the main thing, as in any band. I think you spend more time traveling in hotels or airports or in a bus or a van than you do actually playing. So obviously it's almost more important than actually playing. But they're phenomenal players, and obviously Ronnie's a phenomenal singer as well.
Right. And for yourself, like you said, you were out in a van, basically, duking it out in the smaller venues and stuff. And that is, like you said, a contrast from what you're doing with Priest. Anything you needed to do to prepare yourself for that? I mean, aside from, the unexpected, like the AC going out on the van.
Well, we've all been in that position at some point or another, in a small club, and no doubt we'll be there again soon, Yeah. So, but the great thing is about that, you're building something from the ground up. You go into these clubs, and there's 200, 300, 400, maybe less, 150 people in there, but they're there to see you. And you go there again, and there's 200 people there, and you're building something from the ground up. And I think that's an important thing. You've got to do that. Yeah. So we're prepared for that. We get out there and we slog it out. And when we go back, there's a sense of achievement. We come back and there's more people, and you go back again the next time and there's more people, and you build that following from the ground up. And I don't think that can be understated, really.
Yeah. And I guess, how much reflection did you do on this? I mean, once you did that run, in terms of, reflecting on, the contrast again between the Priest and building something from the ground up. I mean, I think it makes you appreciate things a little bit more, huh?
Definitely. From both sides of the coin, I think. As I said to you, you've got to slog it out. It's going to be hard. most things that are worth doing are difficult, you know. So you've got on one hand, you know, we're on a private plane with Priest, and then we're on a splitter van with Elegant Weapons, but they also started somewhere as well. So you've got to appreciate both sides of the coin. You know when it's easier and more, you know, it's an easier setting with Priest, but that's where they came from as well. They built it up the same way we had to, and I think you've got to do that. Otherwise, it doesn't mean as much when you get to a point and you haven't built it up from the ground up. It doesn't mean as much.
Yeah, and it is interesting watching some veterans, you know, kind of like yourself. You know, you're coming from Priest. I mean, you've been in that band for a lengthy period of time. Still, I don't know that I consider you the new guy anymore, but you know, it is something that people got adjusted and accustomed to seeing you on stage. But yeah, there's some people, musicians that just, you know, it's almost like fans don't want to invest time in new projects, new bands, because they know that they're going to get frustrated and just kind of throw in the towel. So it's gratifying to see you guys, you know, put out album number 2 and hopefully hit the United States.
Yeah, that's always been a goal of mine, really. When I put the band together, and I knew that I had a sound as such. You know, the band had a sound. We had an identity. We put out a record. I didn't want it to be a one and done record. You know, I wanted it to be a band that continues on. Hopefully, if we ever get that call from Priest that they don't want to continue anymore or retire, hopefully we can take that DNA and continue on. You know, so to be on the second record now is the next step along that journey. You know, so it feels good to get the first one, the second one. Hopefully there'll be a third and fourth. Hopefully we'll be around for 50 years like Freestyle. You know.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Tell me about the record. I mean, like I said, Evolution's the name of the title of the record, out April 24th. You have Bridges Burn out, great tune. I'm kind of partial to Thrown to the Wolves myself, but you know, everybody's going to have their favorites. So tell us about the record, how the songs came along. Was there anything that was kind of lingering from the previous writing sessions or anything?
It's funny the way songwriting happens for me. I can have new stuff that I come up with just on a spur of the moment, and I can have stuff that if I put an idea down and I need something to, you know, another piece of the jigsaw, it could be something that's been around for 15 years, 10, 15 years that I just haven't found a place for. And that happens on every record, you know. And this was no different. So there's stuff come back to me. For example, the ballad, the chorus has been around for at least 15 years. I just haven't found a home for it, you know. Thrown to the Wolves is another one. That riff was around for the last record, just couldn't complete the song. Wasn't finished. But I found a home for it on this one. And that's, for me, how the writing normally goes. I'll sit down for the next one, maybe, and there might be some riffs left over from this record, you know, that find a home on the next one. Hopefully, I say that hopefully, you know, you never know when the ideas are going to dry up, but hopefully there'll still be some ideas left.
Nice. For yourself, I mean, how do you archive these things, the song ideas? Do you have them in your like a hard drive? I know, you know, I think back to, you know, years ago, I think Kirk Hammett, I think, had song ideas on his iPhone, and then he lost his iPhone or something like that, and there went all that archival stuff of riffs.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens. So I get a lot of ideas on the road, and I've got a guitar with me on the road. So I'll document ideas on the phone, and then when I get back, I'll sift through them and record them properly. I say properly, like just in a better form with the guitar on a proper format, and then put them in a file. And usually it's easiest to distinguish. I mean, we know what a Priest song sounds like, and luckily Weapons has an identity of its own as well, fortunately. So I know kind of what that riff's going to go to that band and that riff's going to go to that one. There is a little bit of crossover. Some Weapons tracks is a little bit more 80s metal influence, and that could go either way. But usually, fortunately, there's enough identity there to distinguish between the two of them. But they start off as an idea on the phone, and then I put them over to the hard drive as soon as I can, because as you said, if the phone gets lost or you know, breaks or whatever, then you've lost all those ideas. And some of them are in their most simple form. You might whistle them, or you just sing them badly into the phone, but that's where you capture lightning in a bottle sometimes. The simplest ideas are oftentimes the strongest ones.
Yeah. And how did you guys cut this thing? Was it the exchanging files thing? And how do you keep that sounding cohesive? Because in some instances, that's been kind of the downfall to some of these projects is that, it doesn't have that in the studio together type vibe.
You're absolutely right. We had the opportunity on this record to get everyone together, me, Davey, and Christopher, at least, in the studio to record the foundations for the tracks, which for me is most important is the drums. If you get the drum tracks done together, you get that cohesiveness, you get the spontaneity that comes from playing together. If I played something that was off the cuff and spontaneous, the other guys in the room respond to that and vice versa. And you get that kind of live cohesiveness from play. Well, it only comes from playing together. So we were lucky enough to get that. But then we could redo the guitars and bass after that separately, and the vocals as well. Although we were separate, we did it on a Zoom call like this, where Ronnie was in his studio, Andy, the producer, was in his studio, and I was in my studio, and we went through the vocals together. So we had the melodies and the lyrics, but if we needed to use a different microphone for this part, or a different vocal technique, a different melody, or a different lyric here, we could build it up like that. And I think it really helped with the cohesiveness and the performances. And we definitely got a better performance out of Ronnie. We got more Ronnie Romero on this record than the first one, I think.
Right. And tell me about working with Ronnie and how receptive he to feedback, because I got a chance to meet the guy a few years ago on one of the cruises. Super nice dude. I mean, he was just so down to earth and stuff like that, and just having a conversation and of all things Spanish, with him, and just kind of spending a few minutes just chatting for about his past work and whatnot. But it seems like a really nice dude. How receptive is he to, feedback when it comes to cutting the vocals, or, moving some, stuff around, changing some lines and lyrics and things of that nature?
Well, he's a joy to work with. I mean, I say it all the time. He's not just a singer. He's like, there's a few singers out there like him, different style, but Rob Halford's the same. They don't only sing, but they connect the audience with the emotion of the song, both in the studio and live. And Ronnie's like that as well. And in terms of working with him, I think he trusts me and Andy to produce him, well. He takes ideas well. I think he trusts us to get the best performance out of him. And there was nothing really that was too hard for him. He knows what his voice can do and what he's comfortable doing. So he worked with us beautifully. And again, stage, he's great. On the stage, in the studio, he's great. Live, he's great. And he's a pro, and he's a joy to work with on every facet of that. So he's brilliant.
Right. So, let me see. There's I guess the presence of more keyboards on this one. Is that more of, like you said, kind of the hard rock 80s kind of metal vibe to it? Did that influence it?
Well, I'm always kind of trying to listen to what the song's telling me to do. When you write a song, it kind of comes out naturally, but you've got to listen to what it's telling you, And there was a couple of songs on this record. I play a little bit of keyboards, but not enough. I play kind of underlying kind of layers and stuff. But there were two songs on this record, the ballad "Come Back to Me" and another song, "Keeper of the Keys," that needed something a bit more involved. So we recruited Adam Wakeman on keys. Yeah, I was talking to Davey about who we should get, and he recommended Adam. He knew Adam.
Okay.
Well, I was supposed to meet Adam on the Aussie tour in 2019. It never ended up happening. It kept getting postponed. So I never met Adam in person, but I contacted him. I asked him if he would do these two tracks, and he did it, and they came out amazing. They really kind of brought the band to life, the way the keyboard works and the way the rotary speaker works and speeds up and slows down really brought the tracks to life. And I don't know, as I said, I don't know, you got to listen to what the song is telling you, and I felt like it needed that. Thrown to the Wolves, which you mentioned before, has a friend of mine, Jared James Nichols, playing guitar.
He's
guitar
awesome.
solo on it. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fiery. It's funny, the guitar, he plays guitar like he is as a person. He's got a lot of heart, a lot of passion, a lot of fire in his playing. And I asked him, we live quite close to each other, so we were out one night. I asked him if he could do a solo, and he came around and done it in maybe 2 takes, 3 takes. It takes me about 10 takes at least these days, but he came around and nailed it in 2 or 3 takes and captured all that fire and that kind of bluesy nuance that he has, and did a great job. And again, just brought the track to life along with Adam. So it's an honor. Really fortunate to have them on the record. Really grateful.
Right. I mean, a huge fan of Jared James Nichols as well. I mean, I've seen him several times, but I mean, he almost seems like he's a cross between like, I don't know, Nugent and who else was I thinking? Oh, Zach Wild. Oh, yeah. I mean, he's just, and is he really that big? I mean, it looks like he bulked up. And how does he play guitar? I mean, geez, that's amazing.
He's a good 6'5". I mean, I'm about 6'2", and he's taller than me, so he must be 6'5", 6'6", and yeah, he's pretty built, you know. Yeah. So if you ever need anyone taken care of, he's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, he could act as his own personal security. Jeez, I mean,
but he puts everything into when he plays guitar. If you watch him play guitar, he puts his body into it. Yeah, and it really shows, and you really hear that in his playing. He's a phenomenal player, larger than life sort of character and player. So again, it's really grateful that he could play on the record.
Yeah, and so that's a great collaboration. But speaking of collaborations, and in a way, it kind of ties in a little bit because this particular dude at one point supported Priest, and then at the same time did some bodybuilding at one point. But you know him well, George Lynch. I mean, is there ever a chance you would collaborate with him on something? I mean, that would be kind of cool to listen to, I think.
Yeah, do you know what? I get asked that a lot. It's something I don't know if it's too close that I never think about it. And people usually mention it to me, and I thought, oh, you know what? Hopefully I didn't offend him by not asking him to be on the record. But I think it's too close. I just didn't think about it. But yeah, I mean, we could definitely do something. Maybe it's a track or something we could do. Because George is we all know George is a phenomenal player, and still, he's still out there playing live and killing it. Absolutely killing it. Amazing player. So yeah, maybe we could do something like that in the future if you'd do it. It'll be interesting to see how that'll turn out.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, I think so we covered the new album, covered some of the tunes, some of the guests, some of the people performing on. We got Adam and then Jared James on there, the new recruits. Hey, I was going to ask you, because Priest is going to do some touring later on this year, and you guys are going to have Nevermore supporting. I mean, are you a fan of Nevermore? I mean, that's a huge thing for them to, fire up that band again after the passing of Warrell Dane, and then landing this particular spot supporting Priest. I mean, are you a fan at all, or are you familiar with them?
Yeah, definitely familiar with them, and Andy's good friends with them as well. I think it's a good opening slot. It's a good band to have on the road with us. There's some interest and buzz about them, obviously, for the reasons you suggested. I think it'll be a good bill. It's always good to have a band out that's different, but also similar in certain ways as well. Heavy band, technical band, but different enough to bring a different flavor to the evening. I think fans are going to dig it. So it'll be good to. I've never actually met them. I'm looking forward to meeting. I think I've met Jeff, but I don't know. No, it would be a good night, and looking forward to it. I think we're doing Hammersmith with them as well. That's like a hometown gig for me. That's a London show for me, so it'll be good to see them there as well.
Nice. Yeah, and you guys make your way out through the U.S. Yearly, which is, unbelievable. I think there are bands that are of, contemporaries of Priest that just, cycle through every 2-3 years. You guys are hitting, the Northwest out in Portland, Seattle, like every year, it seems like. So that would be cool to see that build, Priest and Nevermore. Man.
Yeah, it's great. When you hit on a good touring package like that, we always try and take it everywhere. If it works, it usually works everywhere. In the past, we had Saxon and Uriah Heep in Europe.
That was awesome.
It really worked well. Wherever we went, that really worked well. I think last year we had Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons in Europe, and then all of a sudden Phil's no longer with us. That was a real shock, Yeah. But it's always great when you have good opening acts like that and the venue's full. Sometimes you get into a venue and people are out in the parking lot, for the opening act, and a few trickle in for for the second warm-up act or whatever it might be. But when you get a good package like that, everyone's there from the word go, and it's really good to see an enthusiasm for not just the main band but the whole package, and that's when you know you've got it right, you know. So it'll be an interesting package to see if we can take that elsewhere as well.
Nice. Hey, last thing, and then I'll cut you loose, and thank you so much for your time. And this is going to be for We Go to 11, so it's got a little bit of a Spinal Tap-esque type theme to it.
Brilliant.
Can you share a particular Spinal Tap-esque type story that might have transpired, maybe lost your way inside the venue, or a guitar-related mishap or anything like that that stands out that you'd like to share?
That movie became so much of a cult following because it is close to home, you know what I mean? I think a lot of people either didn't know it was a movie or they didn't like it because of how close to home it was, you know, which is the hilarious part. They got it so right. So all of those things happen. You know, we get lost a load of times, you know, in the kind of maze of corridors sometimes in these venues. That always happens. A Spinal Tap moment, we always get lost. One time, I mean, it was a Spinal Tap moment looking back on it. At the time, it wasn't. I threw a guitar up in the air, tried to catch it, didn't catch it, went straight down in the pit. Didn't look I wanted it to look like the coolest thing in the world, but it didn't, you know, silly moment. There was a time when Rob came on the bike. We were in South America, I think we were, and he drove it out to the front of the stage, and he decided to keep going. Accidentally drove it into the side of the PA, and he lost the bike. And for a split second, everyone was, you know, didn't know what to say. How is he okay? And he picked the bike up, sat down on the bike, finished the set sitting on the bike, and everyone just thought that was the most. I mean, it was the most Spinal Tap, but the coolest thing ever, you know. Just and it was a heavy bike, you know. It wasn't like it wasn't a hairdryer. It was like a big Harley Davidson. He picked it up, sat in, just cool as a cucumber, just sat down on the bike and finished the set. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So, but stuff like that happens all the time. You can imagine. That's where the band got, that's where those guys got all those stories from to put that movie together, I'm sure.
Yeah, no kidding. So, okay, the band is Elegant Weapons. The record is Evolution. It's out on April 24th. And wish you the best on this particular record. And like you said, so there's a third and a fourth and a fifth and so on and so forth. Thank you so much, and hope to talk to you again soon. All right.
Have a good weekend, man. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.